You can start it whenever you want, I guess. Oh. Well, there you go. It's going already, Valerie Lynn. So.
Okay, I'm just looking at Mazzy. Look, because she just sent me pictures. Sorry.
That's really good. Thank you. I just saw a post that I think is interesting. By the way, thanks for joining us. I'm Benny.
I'm Valerie.
And this is Living Your Best Life with Valerie and Bennie, at least for now.
Yeah.
And I just saw a post on Instagram that I thought was really interesting. But he said, take away your phones when you're with people. And he goes, and then he actually said, putting it face down is not taking your phone away.
Oh, right. Right. As I just did that.
Well, that's what made, well,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. Because
Yeah.
I was totally stepping on my own toe when I said that. Because I was like, I do that all the time. I'm like, I'm going to put my phone down. Like,
Right.
Because I'm great.
Yeah.
Because I am present. And he's like, I don't know.
Well, that's
why.
a lot of times, like, I will put my phone in my bedroom and plug it in back there versus having it next to me if we're out in the living room watching TV or something. Because then I won't hear an alert. I won't hear a text. I won't hear it.
Oh, that's
so
smart.
a lot of times people are like, are you there? Why aren't you responding? I'm like, well, because I put you away.
Yeah, I'm actually one of those people sometimes. That's
You
like, well, where in the
are!
world are you?
Exactly. like I'll look at my phone and there's like several calls in a row and then texting like, Valerie. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Well, the thing that I think is weird, and I'm not saying this is just you and that you're the only person who does this. I'm sure I've done it before as well. But what I think is weird is when you or somebody sends a text and they go, hey, what time are we getting together tomorrow? And then I say, oh, I don't know. I was thinking 2.
And then nothing.
And I'm like, you sent me a text about 8 seconds ago. I don't understand. What did you do? Did you drop it in water? Did you go swimming? I don't understand what happened in that short period of time.
Oh my God. I know. That's funny.
Because then I even look at it and there's not even a ... You beg for the ... You just sit
Yeah, but
there
you answered
staring
the
at it.
question. So if you're referring to me, you answered the question. I don't know. I'm thinking about 2. All right. You answered it. Bye. I'm going to put my phone away.
I don't know. I think that, well, see, because she's on her phone. That's why she missed it. Both of them, see. Well, so anyway.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good. I
Yeah.
spent the day at the beach today.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. With
Patty
your
and I were
wife
talking
and
about the
Veronica.
fact, I know Patty got to go, but this is a really weird summer because we haven't even done as many walks on the beach as we normally do. Normally we go for walks a lot, and of course we did some traveling,
Yeah.
which I'm sure we'll get into, but
Yeah.
but honestly, there's just something weird about this particular summer where we have not done nearly as much beach stuff.
No,
as we
I
normally
agree.
do.
I said the same thing to Peter about like we would do bike rides and rollerblading. I think we've done 2 bike rides and we haven't rollerbladed yet.
Yeah.
So it's been
I will
weird.
say this: it hasn't been very friendly temperature-wise. I mean, at least there was a couple weeks there that it was. For me, it's just too. I mean, I would go at night for sure. I love that, but I'm not a midday person with the sun like cranking
Well,
down.
see,
when
and
it
the
was-
funny thing is I thought you were going to say the other thing, that it was very cloudy for a long, like June gloom went into the beginning of July.
Oh, you're actually right. In
Yeah.
June, it wasn't very
Yeah.
summery.
Right.
And I guess what happened was that by the time it started getting summery, we started traveling.
Yeah.
And then we came back.
Yeah. And then it's really hot.
And then now it was crazy hot.
Yeah.
So that made it less fun too. So,
So Iggy's here, so just so we can
oh, that's right.
recognize
And thank
Iggy.
you, Iggy, for doing our sound stuff.
He does everything.
Yeah, he does everything. I
other
don't know
than
what
talk.
I'm talking about. He does everything. So thanks, Iggy. Are you doing
Yeah.
well? They don't know that you're nodding, Iggy.
I had to pick up the microphone. So I nodded in the meantime.
Well, good. Well, we're glad you're here.
Wait, what's wrong with your hand though?
Oh, I sprained it playing basketball
Oh.
last weekend.
Okay.
Living his best life.
Yes.
Yeah. Playing basketball. What he really means to say is he tripped. I'm kidding. He was actually trying to get his jacket and he tripped on the bleacher. I'm kidding.
Oh no.
I'm totally kidding. No. Didn't she stub it? Didn't what's that called? Jammed it?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting a pass, but it went to me, so I tried catching it, and it jammed my thumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
that
awful.
sucks. Yeah. Well, good. Well, hey, we have a lot to talk about. I'm sure we're going to talk about our travels because we just so you, the listener, know. Well, you talk about Kylie and what.
Well,
happened
if
with
you
Kylie.
haven't heard the episodes before this, we talk about how Kylie, my daughter, is performing on Disney Cruise Line. And so as soon as she said she was performing on this cruise, we booked a cruise, and it's overseas, a Europe cruise, which is great. I've never been to Europe. And then no sooner we're telling you guys about it, and you guys are like, we want to do it. So they took the cruise. You guys took the cruise a week after we did, which was fun.
Yeah,
But,
and we took Mom.
And you took Mom, so that Mom got to see Europe. She's never been there.
81
and
years
see
old.
Kylie
And
perform.
Yeah, because one thing, Patty and I, when we found out about Kylie performing, because she's also done this where she did the whatever that's called. She did another cruise where what is that called?
Oh,
when
right. She did a short cruise. She was called for a last minute replacement for a 3-month contract, but she was more a character greeter.
Yeah, character greeter
Yeah.
person. So, I mean, it's great, and there's obviously nothing wrong with that, and what a get your foot in the door kind of a
Yeah.
thing. But it wasn't like something like I'm going to go on a cruise to see her character greet.
Right. She had to actually audition for this in New York, and so yeah, she's in
So it was
performing in their main stage.
It's a Broadway
Yeah.
show, and so when we found out about that, we were like, oh, we want to go regardless, assuming it was the same cruise, quite frankly.
Right.
So we had no idea it was in Europe.
Right.
We had kind of already made a decision in our minds that we were going to do it. Obviously, we had to do some evaluating financially
Mm-hmm.
and time wise and blah blah blah. And then it turns out that the shortest one is 7 days,
Yeah.
which was kind
7
of fun.
nights.
And then
7 nights.
Yeah, and then it was in for us, because yours was entirely in the Mediterranean,
Right.
And then ours was in the Med, and we met each other. That was kind of fun.
That was
in
so
Barcelona.
fun. Our cruise ended on a Saturday. Theirs started on the Saturday, and as we got off, we met in Barcelona, got coffee together, walked around a little bit. Then we went to the airport, and you guys went to go get on the cruise. So that was so cool.
It was very, very fun, and
Yeah.
and it was fun to be with my mom. My dad doesn't fly, and so to be with my mom and just be able to watch her experience. And 81 years old,
Yeah.
walking
Yeah.
anywhere from, I think the shortest we ever walked in a day. Well, we had a couple days where we were on the water, so
Mm-hmm.
so that was kind of a relaxing time. But and then we spent 2.5 days or something like that in Barcelona, and then we spent 2.5 days in London where we ended.
When you were done with the cruise.
Yeah, so we were gone for whatever that math is, and so yeah, but the thing that was fun is that virtually every single day we walked anywhere between 5 and 8 miles.
Yeah. Yeah.
And 81 years old, man, and
She
she
did
kept
it. And
doing
it was so hot. Well, you guys had different weather than we did. We had excruciating hot weather. I know that you guys had a couple days where it was in some days cold, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, Barcelona was hot
Yeah.
because that's where
Right.
you were at too. And then we went to Cadiz, and that was pretty hot. And then after that, it started to cool down, and then it got to a point where we got to France and or even the
that's
northern
okay.
part of Spain and France was cool. Yeah, it was
It
definitely
rained, didn't it?
cool. Yeah, it rained. I had to buy.
Yeah.
So we didn't get into this, but we'll probably get into it a little bit
Yeah.
today. But so if you haven't been following us, then you don't know yet that what we do is obviously we're brother and sister. No, I don't know if it's obvious, but we're brother and sister. And what we do is we're trying to promote living your best life. Literally, that's what we want. We want you guys to live your best life. But the way we're doing it is one of us comes with the topic, and the other person is kind of surprised by the topic. I'll be honest with you today; it's not quite a surprise, but
kind of is.
It kind of is the surprise topic. But one of us will come with a topic, and then we talk about how we could either overcome that thing or use that thing or whatever it is. So
Right.
hopefully, if you haven't already listened, you can listen to our previous episodes. Anyway, today the topic, and so I'll leave it with this. I'll just give you the title, and then we'll go from there. But is dealing with disappointment. Dealing with disappointment. So how to deal with disappointment in a way that's gonna ultimately lead to living your best life,
Right.
Because it's certain,
Right.
By the very word disappointment, it doesn't make you just go. Huh.
Yes.
So I will. I'll just leave it with you for now and just say, what have you had to deal with in regards to disappointment? I know you have some specific things, but why not just share whatever?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that because you guys, and you'll get into it, experience a lot more disappointment than I did in terms of this cruise that we went on. But we had a day. The first day we were supposed to go to a port was Cannes, France. Okay, and we got on the ship and we were we were floating out in sea for 5 hours, and then we were told we have to turn around and go back because of a medical emergency. And so they had to go back to port. It was closer to go back to port in Barcelona than to keep going to France. And so we're just like, okay, what does that mean? And it still was up in the air that maybe we'll get to France in the late afternoon, and then you can go explore for a little bit and then come back in. And mind you, we were supposed to port and be off the ship at 8 a.m. So now we're taking, okay, late afternoon, what is that going to leave us? So long story short, it was too long. By the time they went back and then started back out again at sea, we did not get to France. And they just said, we're not going to, because you're going to get there at maybe, I think they said 4 or 5 p.m. and got to be back on ship at 6 p.m. So it was just silly. So that was disappointing.
Yeah.
And at first I thought, okay, this is really disappointing because our cruise was France, and then our next 3 ports were Italy only. Like, granted, different areas in Italy. There was Florence, Rome, and Naples. But I was like, okay.
But in other words, you were going to get to see 3 countries: Spain, France, and Italy.
Yeah.
And in this case, you saw Spain and Italy. And in your case, because you guys flew in and then went on the cruise, and then when the cruise ended, you left.
Yes.
So
So
you
we
didn't
didn't even
even see
really
a
get a
whole
whole
lot.
lot of Barcelona. We were just there for the half a day. In the evening, and then half a day the next day. And so anyway, it was disappointing. And at first I just thought, oh my gosh, are you kidding? And then we have one more day at sea. And honestly, it was disappointing to where I was like, well, I wonder if they're going to give us money back. I wonder, like in my mind, this stuff kind of went through my head. And then I just went, you know what? We get one more day at sea. This means one more day by the pool, one more day for Kylie to hang out with us, one more day, and the end of the day, we're going to still see 3 spots in Italy. So it was a mind shift that I had to tell myself to do, because initially it was disappointing. And so,
Well, hey, why don't we do this? Let me do something real quick, because what I'd like to do is let me share our disappointment a little what happened, and then we'll get into how we dealt with it.
Oh, okay.
Does that sound cool?
Oh, for sure.
So that way I don't have to interrupt yours and start sharing. So our thing that happened was we were flying out in the morning of X day, whatever, and so in the morning we were supposed to go. And the day before, this is what's fascinating. The day before, they already told us you're going to have connection issues because of weather, and so it's best if you change the flight. And a very long story short, we changed our flight, which made us leave earlier in the morning, which was actually not a bad thing. And so we thought, this is good. We get there, and again, long story short, we're about to board the flight practically, and we get another text message, and the flight is from LA to New York. And they sent us a text saying your flight to Barcelona from New York is canceled due to technical issues. So we go to the United folk, and long story short, they say don't get on that flight. We're going to reroute you. But your luggage is going to
it's already gone.
New York.
It's already there.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't going. This is a little frustrating. Part of the frustration and disappointment is it was sitting right there in the plane, but they didn't want the plane to be late.
Sure.
So they said. Sorry, your stuff is going there. Then it turns out we cannot file. They told us it's lost. It's like, in other words, you're not going to have it in Barcelona. 100%. You're not going to have it in Barcelona, because you can't even file a claim for it until you get to
there.
Barcelona.
Right.
Because they can't have luggage. They're not even supposed to have luggage go to New York without us on the
somebody
plane.
on it. Yeah.
But going to another country is impossible. So you have to be in Barcelona to finally do it. Well, the flight they put us on was 12 hours after that one, and it's a 12-hour connection, or 13 or whatever it was, to get to actual Barcelona. And so we didn't even get to file the claim for over 24 hours. And I will just make a very long story short and say my wife's luggage Patty's luggage came in the next day. My mom's luggage came in the day after that. My luggage came in the day
when you
I
got
arrived home. Literally the day I arrived home, my daughter calls me up and says, after I had texted to say we're home, and
we're landed,
Trinity,
or whatever.
yeah, we landed. And about an hour later, Trinity calls me and says, says, "Hey, Dad, your luggage showed up." Oh, that's really super helpful.
Right.
So,
but at least it did show up.
It did show up. Yeah. So it did show up. So here's the thing. It's pretty disappointing. All my shoes were in that thing. All your, basic.
I mean, we had
necessities.
pirate night on the cruise, and your costume things
My
were
costume
in the
was
luggage.
in the luggage. Then it's a little tease because several times I'd get emails, and twice they sent me emails saying, "Oh, we found your luggage," because at first they didn't even know where it was, and then they said, "We found your luggage and it's on its way to," and at one point Spain, a second place in Spain, not Barcelona, and obviously it didn't show up. And then we get one that says, "Okay, it's on its way to Paris." It actually said, "We have it, and the courier's got it in Paris." And then I finished my Paris stuff, and not Paris, but we didn't go to Paris, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Suffice it to say, we get back on the ship, and I go, "Is it here?"
Yeah.
Nope, it's not here. So then, anyway, so I don't want to get into every single little detail, other than to say it was disappointing. It was kind of hard. So now we'll get back to what you were going to say earlier, and that is, so how do you deal with it? How do you deal with it? I mean, this is kind of a very specific situation, but I guess, you can...
Disappointment in general.
Yeah, how do we deal with disappointment in general? And Iggy, I forgot to time us. How long have we been going?
I actually don't know either, because I started recording before you guys actually started.
So it's probably been about 5 minutes. We'll do this for another 2 or 3 hours. Okay. Anyway, so sorry about that, listener, if this goes really super long. But anyway,
well, we'll
keep
cut
going.
it off.
Yeah.
No, I think disappointment, whether it is like something like the fact that we won't see France after all. I think that as I've grown older and realized that disappointment is inevitable with a lot of things, especially if there's, an expectation or something. The thing is that a lot of times there's nothing, like the whole thing about France was completely out of my control. And so I could sit there and just say, this is a bummer. I wanted to see these areas that we tapped out that we wanted to see. Or I could just say, I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. So let's enjoy the moment I'm in and not, otherwise I'm going to sacrifice having the fun that I'm actually in at that moment by being sad about a moment that I could have had. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I think that's the biggest thing, at least for me. You have a choice, right? You literally at a fork in the road. Every single time you come up to a disappointment, I think you're staring at one of two directions, and one of them is to wallow in the sorrow in the fact that I didn't have my luggage, and now I don't get to dress up, and now I don't get to shave, and I don't have my clothes. I literally had one pair of shoes, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And so you could either wallow in it, or you can say, in this case, but I think there's always some kind of green lining. I can say, I'm in Europe.
Exactly. That's the same.
I'm on a cruise. I'm with my wife, who I seriously love to be with all the time. I'm with my mom, who is one of the easiest people to be around ever.
Right.
And just seeing her, and she just loves being there, and she really doesn't have... I mean, she's willing to put up a boundary. It's like, okay, I want to go do this. I'm going to go rest. I'm going to do whatever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she's just easy.
Yeah.
She's so easy to be with.
Right.
And so I'm thinking, so I have a choice to just sit here and wallow in this and say, wow, how horrible this is. And I can't believe it. And, or you can choose the other road and just go, this is what I'm going to do. So I guess the one thing I'm going to ask, because what we try to do on our podcast, right, is, okay, practically speaking,
right,
how do you... I have a few things that I wrote down, but I'm curious what your thoughts are.
I think that in general, like, because there's just been disappointments in my life, obviously, as you live life, but I think in general the key thing was what you just said a minute ago, is that there's a choice to wallow in it, or there's a choice to move beyond it, because a lot of it is out of our control. A lot of the things, I think I might have mentioned this in one of the podcasts. In fact, Patty and I were talking about the beach today. We lost our house. We lost our home because of, Peter's business and all that kind of stuff. And that's obviously kind of a long story, but at the end of the day, as disappointed as I was that I did not have that house anymore, I wasn't a homeowner. All I kept telling myself as time moved on was I have a choice to be sad about this and be upset about it, or I can choose to look at the positive things in my life, that I do have a very happy and healthy family. I have a very good marriage. Yeah. We still have a house over our head, and we can make this house, even though it's a rental, our home. And that's the way I chose to progress with it. So I think, obviously it's very simplified to say it's a choice, but at the end of the day, it kind of really is.
Yeah, no, I think it is a choice. I think I might have mentioned this on a podcast. I had a person call me one time and say, it was 8 a.m. and he said, it's a bad day. And I was like, dude, it's 8 a.m, man. Make it a good day.
Right.
Literally, it's like, it doesn't have to be. Yes, there might be things that are not going the way you wanted to.
Right.
I've mentioned this before. It's one of my favorite sayings. Expectations are resentments under construction. Whenever we have an expectation of our spouse, of our friends, of a circumstance, of anything, what happens is that we're putting something, and when it doesn't go the way we had it planned, I did not plan on my luggage not making it.
Right.
When it doesn't go as planned, it's like all of a sudden this is going to ruin everything. Yeah. And there's resentments that can happen. You start to get angry. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm angry.
Sure.
I mean, it's really frustrating.
Sure.
So let me just, I'm gonna share. I wrote some stuff down, which I don't always do, but this time I did a few things. So first of all, I want to say that think about your disappointments. Think about the things that are disappointing. Think about the things that might trip you up. So you don't get a promotion. I think of Kylie. She got sick before an audition a year or two ago, whenever that was, and she couldn't sing.
Right. No, she got sick. She was cast in the musical in New York, and she got sick while there.
Oh, goodness.
They had to put her understudying.
So then you have maybe you don't get a bonus that you wanted from work. You expected to get a bonus. Maybe you didn't. Did I already mention a promotion? So anything. There's a friend all of a sudden can't visit that said that was going to visit, whatever. So first thing I wanted to say for me that was important was acknowledging and accepting that this is frustrating.
Sure.
Because I think that's a huge deal. It could be easy to pretend it's fake if you don't accept that there's a reality here of the pain and sorrow and frustration and anger or whatever. It turns out it will end up being fake because eventually that aggression is going to come out.
It's okay to be frustrated and even angry about it. It really is. I mean, I think about Mom and Patty, like I'm not minimizing that you lost your luggage, but I'm going to say, you have people, you have women who pack. Mom and I went shopping. She got dresses. She wanted to make sure she had the right makeup. She wanted, you know what I'm saying? And so that all that stuff is gone. And, I'm very thankful that they both got it when they did.
Very quickly.
But I'm just saying it's okay to be frustrated and angry about
for
this
sure.
stuff. Yeah.
I mean, just like you said about the costume, and for me that was a bummer because it's like I'm not a big costume guy, so for me to even say yes, I want to do this, I want to be a part of it, I want to go for it, and then it was like, well, I'm going to abandon that. And Patty, she kind of split her costume up and we tried to make the best of it, but it wasn't what it could have been, right?
Sure.
So, and likewise, I bought some shoes for walking because I knew it was going to be lots of walking and I wanted some particular types of shoes. And so I was like excited about those. So, so it's important that you acknowledge and be real with how you're actually feeling.
Yeah.
The second thing, at least in this case, I think is take action. You have to take some kind of action. You have to do something. So in my case, we did have to take action on, okay, what are we going to do to get the luggage back? But once you do what you have to do, that's when, like you said earlier, and then it's out of your hands.
Right.
And
you just sit there and ache over it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would go to the Disney line and I would ask them how things are going.
Sure.
I never waited in a long line because I was like, I just don't care that much.
Sure.
Well, I did care, but I was like, I don't care. I don't want to ruin my trip by standing for an hour in a line.
Yeah.
So I would wait till I would just pass by. Oh, there's nobody there. I'm going to run over there and do that.
You had an ant on you.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Who's weighing me down? And so then what ended up happening was I would go over to them, and it was fascinating to me because I would see other people there, and they'd be on the phone, and I would just ask them, "Hey, do you know anything? I'm in this room. Do you know anything about my luggage?" And then they would go, no, but if you would like, you can call them. You know, I can put you on the phone with them.
Right.
And that
And you're
way
like,
you can
okay,
do
great.
whatever.
I'm going
And
to
I
spend
got,
my vacation
and I
talking on
said,
the
I
phone.
said, well, do you think that's helpful? And they go, well, and I go, won't I be on the phone for like a long time? Or do you guys have like a connection so I can get right in there
Right.
kind of a thing? And they go, that person over there has been on for an hour and a half.
Oh my gosh.
And I just said, no, I care. But I
yeah.
mean, if you guys are doing your due
Yeah.
diligence, then I just have to let it go.
Sure.
You know, so so yes, we need to take action. We need to do what we got to do to resolve whatever
But
the
there's a point
issue
where
might
you don't
be.
want to be obsessive about it, that it's ruining the moment you're in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you might have to skip this step because sometimes you don't have action you can take. I mean, maybe the action that
Well,
you
even
take is I'm not
even
gonna
the
do
France
it.
thing, there wasn't a
Yeah.
whole lot of action I could take for that, because basically, but there was a step and there was a conscious decision to go, okay, pivot. Let's do this now. Okay, we're not going, so what are we going to do? You know, and just change our whole mindset.
Yes, I know what's happening right now. My daughter laughed and
Like,
she's thinking pivot
Pivot,
from Friends.
pivot.
Pivot. Okay. So anyway, so that's one. That's another thing. Practice. I put practice self-care. I don't know, but the idea here is, for me, I need an outlet. So there were times that, you know, doing exercise, that's a big deal for
Yeah.
me. Reading and it's just making sure you're doing something to take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, it's very easy to wallow in it again, and you find yourself ruminating in those nasty thoughts, right?
Do you ever think, sorry to cut you off if you have more to say, but do you ever think that things happen for a reason?
That's one of my points. You're stealing it.
Oh.
It's so rude.
This
No.
is why we do the show together.
Yes, exactly. One of the things is that's interesting about what you just said is for me, I was gonna use it from the standpoint of practicing gratitude, because there are things that happen for a reason. What was interesting for me, what you were going to say something. What do you think the reason was, or what do you think? What was your mindset?
No, I think that things happen to either teach us a lesson, or keep us from harm, or keep us from. I mean, okay, and this is a real quick. I ran a few marathons, and one of the last marathons that I was running, I was trying to. What's the word I'm looking for? Qualify for the Boston Marathon.
Oh, right.
And so I was like, this is the last marathon I'm gonna do in LA. I want to qualify and do the Boston, and then I'm gonna just put my marathon shoes away. And so I got to let's see, I believe my hours might be wrong, but I think I finished the marathon in 3 hours and 54 minutes. Yes. But to qualify, you had to be there at 3:50 or 3:51. So I missed it by a few minutes.
Oh,
and
man.
Okay, so I was disappointed, and I was like, oh my gosh. And all I could do for a few days was rack my head around, oh, if I only would have pushed it a little bit faster here, if I only would have done this a little bit, if I wouldn't have, woulda, shoulda, coulda, right?
Right.
That year was the Boston Marathon that had the bombing.
Oh, wow.
So I'm not trying to minimize what happened to everybody else there, but I thought, maybe that was the reason I wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? And so I'm not saying that there was like some traumatic reason why your luggage was lost, but I think that things happen to maybe us take a step back. Like you said, maybe have gratitude for what we do have, because at the end of the day, when I couldn't go to France, I was on a cruise. I was going to Italy after that, and so I was very thankful for those things.
Yeah.
I was seeing my daughter on stage. I was,
Well, I think the thing for me is in regards to, do they happen for a reason? I definitely believe in God, a higher power, and he's out there, and he's for us, for all of us. I really truly believe he's for all of us. So that's why it's always awkward for me, things like that happen that are bad, because it's like I don't. I just don't.
So why is this for us?
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get those kind of things. But what I can say is, even bad crap, God can make it good. So in my case, what happened with the at least in this, it's just such a small example.
No, it really is. But it is. It's a way to apply it, though.
But it is a way to apply it. And so for me, what happened though is I stopped. I didn't think about clothes. I had 3 shirts. So it's like, you just rotate the shirts.
Well, you just took a lot of thought process out of your day.
Yes, exactly. Because you're not trying to figure out what you're going to wear.
Right.
I think I had 2 pairs of shorts.
Right.
I had 1 pair of shoes.
Right. And you know why you had those? Because I think you had to buy something, but since you had that 12-hour where you're like, my next flight is, you guys were able to home, and Mom and Patty were able to pack a few things just in case luggage never came.
Just in case it never
Yeah.
came, we had a little bit of a start because our situation, I guess, a lot of people lose their luggage, but they're going to one place.
Right.
So the luggage will eventually
And
get
get
there. And in
there.
our case, we said, we're not going to be there in a couple
Exactly.
days. So if you don't bring it here, it's not helpful to bring it here if it's not coming today or tomorrow.
Right.
And obviously, the story happened, but the thing that's interesting for me is several things. Now I can be grateful for, but at the time I go, all of a sudden there was a lot of things I didn't have to make a decision on.
Mm-hmm.
I literally didn't have to decide a lot of stuff. It was just basically, this is it.
Yeah.
And then I was able to go, you know what? I don't have to, every single time someone heard my story, regardless of how I smelled or looked, and my clothes weren't that dirty, but I mean, regardless of how that looked or whatever my look was, the fact is that they, it was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you got such a great attitude. What's weird is that I thought, what other attitude can you have?
Right.
I really didn't, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back,
No,
but
it's true, though.
even my wife and mom were like, oh my gosh, he's had such a great attitude about this thing. And I just thought, I don't know what else. What is the alternative? The alternative is I can mope,
Right.
but I'm in Europe. How many people get to
Right.
do this? I mean, it's not like some. So anyway, the truth is like, be great. I was grateful for the experience that I was having. I was grateful for the places I was getting to see. I was grateful for the moments with my niece, with my wife, with my mom. And so I think for me, gratitude always pulls me out of that deep yucky place, because that's when I realize, okay, this is not as bad as what it could be. So the other thing is, I have a couple other things. I'm gonna skip them, but I'm just gonna say this one. We have to learn from whatever the experiences that have happened to us. So learning from it can mean a lot of things, but like in this case, it means I'm putting a couple underwear in my carry-on.
In your carry-on, yes.
And I might be taking a
Yes.
shirt and do this. I've traveled to 40-some countries and stuff. This has never happened to me before,
Yeah.
but I definitely don't want it to happen again.
Sure.
And so definitely wanting to carry, do that, to have some stuff on me to make sure that there's no issues, a toothbrush even and stuff. Because I'm an electric guy, so I have an electric razor for my head, for my
Right.
face, for the toothbrush and all that. So it was like all that kind of stuff was kind of a different
Yeah.
drag. So do you have anything else you kind of, I think, Iggy, what does the time say? Because I don't want to finish like too late and nor too early.
30 minutes.
30 minutes? Oh,
so
shoot. We have a lot more time. So I'm going to tell you this. Maintain perspective. And this is what you were already saying. You kind of said this. And that is this is what might be positive, what might come from this thing. And this goes into a more philosophical discussion to me that's interesting. And that is, I've heard people say I have no regrets in life. Have you ever heard people say that?
Oh, yeah.
I have no regrets. And I don't quite understand that, because I definitely regret some things in my life. There's certain things that I absolutely regret. If what they're trying to say is this, if those things hadn't happened, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now, I can agree with that.
Sure.
But I would much rather have gotten to where I'm at right now without some of the things that I regret.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
there's things that I've done, there's things that I've experienced, there's things that I regret.
Yeah.
And I wish did not happen. Wish didn't happen to my family, wish didn't happen to so there's things I regret. Absolutely. There's things that I regret in the way I raise my kids.
Sure.
There's things that I wish I would have done differently or
Right.
said differently. Although we were pretty much perfect according to that. And there's no question. But what I can say is, from the things that I regret, I've learned something.
Right.
And I've become a person that I'm
Yeah,
happy I am.
Nicole, way back in MySpace days, she had like this little quote that I thought was very profound. It said, "I am who I am because of the choices I made yesterday." And so that could either be a negative or it can be a positive, because if you do learn from the regrets or the mistakes or the, oopsies, then you grow
Yeah.
and you learn. But it could also be like, this is just who I am, so take it or leave it,
Right. Well, and that's why I think that for me, every single experience that takes place, even though I might wish it didn't happen, it's a disappointment. I try to look at it and reframe it and think about it in a different way to say, well, how does this make, what is this going to make for me now? I mean, how am I going to become a better, different, whatever person by virtue of what's happening through this circumstance? Even the worst of circumstances, I hate to say it, because I'm not one of those people that believe that that everything bad is happen on, for a particular purpose.
Right.
But I am a person who believes that just because it's bad doesn't mean we can't learn and grow from it and become better people because of it. You know?
Well, because if it is something that already happened, there's not a lot you can do to change it. And that goes to what we were talking about earlier, is making a choice on how you're going to deal with it. Like, you can wallow in that and you can put yourself into a depressed state or a whatever, or you can flip it and say, okay, how can I make this work better for me? How can I make this
take advantage of the situation or
what am I going to do with this? What am I going to learn from this? And how, gosh, I'm trying to think of what the other thing that I like when people say life doesn't happen to me, it happens for me. And so we can take it as, oh, this is happening to me, this is happening to me, or this is happening for me, and I'm going to learn from this, and I'm going to move on and grow.
In life coaching, I've shared this with folks, and I've shared it with different people in my life. And one of the things that I think is interesting is I think a lot of people, I think goal setting is great. And I even think having a mission statement for your life is great. I think it's actually important that you have a mission statement, so you wake up in the morning thinking, this is what I want to accomplish today. And that mission statement is greater than you. It's just something that you say. It's like for lack of a better word, a life force. It's a thing that drives you and gets you going. And I think it's super important that people have these kind of goals and then set goals toward that mission. Like, in other words, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z this year. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that or whatever. No, I'm not talking about expectations. I'm just talking about something that drives you to try and accomplish tasks, whatever that is, right? So I think it's super important. But, huge but, I think that sounded weird. Okay.
Baby got back.
Exactly. I think the thing, the but that I'm really referring to is that it's not about, though, the destination.
Yes.
It's about the journey.
Absolutely.
And so it's that thing of, set the goal, but then don't forget the journey is really where the growth takes place. It's really where a lot of things happen. And even if you can't reach the goal for reasons, especially that might have anything to do with you, the journey is where we learn, where we grow, where things happen.
And that's where life is.
Totally.
Do you really want to hit a destination where you're just stopped? Like, that's where I feel like a destination is, because there's always those forks in the road. And so you can keep, trying to push for that destination, and you're such in a hurry to get to the destination, you're not going to enjoy the journey, and you're not going to understand, oh wait, there's another fork in the road, and maybe that's where I'm supposed to go.
Right.
But you're so focused on that actual end result or end all
that thing. we miss
all the stuff.
It's the classic saying of, smell the roses on the journey. Don't just be thinking about it. And now it's actually kind of weird because I tried not to do this. It was hard. Some places it's kind of hard, but especially in this day and age of phones. But it's like when we're traveling, I don't like taking 1,000 pictures of everything, because it's like, it's great that I get to see it now on my phone later on, but I miss it when I'm there because I'm so looking at my phone. I know, that's
Peter's gripe, because I'm like, wait, let me get a picture. Wait, let me get a picture. He's like, just be here. I do try now to take the picture, put the phone away, and even if I'm going to post it, I do the posting later when we're downtime or whatever, like not trying to get it out there right away. So.
Yeah. And I certainly think, there's certain things that I saw that it's like, oh, I want a picture of this.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't want to miss the experience while I'm taking a picture of it, so I can remember it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's like that.
I feel like
weird.
that. Do you ever notice this, you guys? Like when you're in a concert and people are videotaping the whole concert the whole time, and all you see is phones, and you're like, are you even enjoying the concert?
You paid $600 to see Taylor Swift, and you're just watching it on a TV. I'm with you.
So those kind of things, I'm like, it's kind of cool to catch a couple snapshots or whatever. But when you just are watching it like this the whole time, it's like you could be watching there.
You can be
instead
watching.
of-
Well, and then the thing that's weird to me is I'm thinking, it's going to sound a lot better on iTunes. It's
Later,
like-
they're going to professionally record this for you.
Yes, and it's like it sounds better there. I don't
Yeah.
understand. No, I see that all the time when they're sitting there recording, and I think I don't understand because
Yeah.
you can listen.
But we
to
are
it.
old, so
That's true.
there's that.
There is that. So, well, do you have any last words on dealing with disappointment?
I mean, I'm sure you have closing words, but I guess I will say that, there is disappointment. I think a lot of disappointment happens because of an expectation. And so I feel like I'm not saying that you have to always like not expect things, but understand that there could be a disappointment and already know that you can acknowledge that you have that disappointment, that you are sad about it or mad about it, but make a decision on what you're going to do with that after that. Like, are you going to just sit there and mope about it or move on?
Yeah. Well, I like what you're saying about, because the truth is, like we already mentioned about expectations, that how they can be an issue. Hope, though, is a great thing. Like, I hope that something happens, and it's something that
Yes.
it's like I'm passionate. I desire this to happen, but I don't have the expectation that it's going to happen. It's just that I hope it happens. If
Sure.
it doesn't happen, well, then I'm going to
Yes.
figure out what course I need to take.
Yes.
But I can hope it's going to happen
Sure.
for sure. I can hope my dinner is going to taste really good. You know what I mean? But if I expect it to taste good and then it's like, oh gosh, that didn't go well, then it's like that's when we're bummed, right? So we have a few steps. So I'm just going to repeat a few steps. And this is for all of you guys out there that have dealt with disappointment. Maybe you're dealing with it right now. Maybe you, in the future, the fact of the life is that you're probably going to have disappointments. And so I want to encourage you to, number one, accept your emotions. Just acknowledge them, accept them. Don't deny them. They're real. They're there. But then you get the fork in the road and you got to make a decision. You got to take action. And that action that we're encouraging you to go is choose the life that's going to lead to, or the decision that's going to lead to your best life. Because don't get stuck in there.
Yes. That's a
and
good
wallow
word.
in
Don't
it.
get stuck.
Yeah, just don't get stuck in there. Practice your self-care, because depending on the situation, so whatever it is that gives you joy, brings you joy, don't forget about yourself in the midst of this thing and start taking care of other people, or start trying to manage this situation. Take care of yourself and whatever it is that you need to do. Reframe it, reframe the narrative, try to figure it out. Okay, how can this ultimately be made for good?
Yeah.
What can I, and then that goes into what can I learn from it and all those things. Seek support. Make sure you got friends around you that can help you out. And then we already mentioned this, and I think is probably the biggest thing that is helpful for every single thing that you do, and that is practice gratitude. Again, we don't want to practice gratitude like this. Well, I know that, there are people that are way worse off than me. That's not
Yeah.
necessarily gratitude. That's just, we're trying to deny our feelings. It's
Sure.
like, this situation sucked.
Yes.
but I'm in Europe.
Right.
And so we
And
can
not
do
everybody
both.
can say that with a different disappointment. There could be something where this person could never even be out of the state. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
right.
there's no travel plan ever in this person's life. But at the same time, it's like, what is it in your life that you are grateful for? And let's focus on those things.
Focus on those things, and I promise you, it actually turns the frown upside down. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just said that, because I didn't, but it really does turn the frown upside down. That's like a saying, isn't it?
It is.
And I was like, I just actually, it just came up in my head. Like,
no,
I was,
you didn't coin the phrase,
like, I was the
Peter.
first person that did it.
Benny.
I'm Benny. I'm your brother. I'm your brother. So anyway, well, guys, we are very glad. Thank you, Iggy, for listening. Thank you guys for listening. And I should say, not thank you, Iggy, for listening.
I know, what
Were
was
you
that
even
about?
listening, Iggy?
Thank you,
Iggy's
Iggy, for
Iggy's
listening.
like, I wasn't listening. I'm just monitoring the
Just
video.
going to push a
audio.
button when you're done.
Yeah.
I just hit record.
Yeah. So thank you, Iggy, for hitting record, for
Yes.
monitoring all this stuff, doing
And
the
thank
sound
you
stuff.
guys for being here, for tagging along with us. And if you would like to hit subscribe, like, or comment on any of these, we would appreciate it, because it really helps with the algorithm. We're obviously a new podcast, and we would love to get it out there if you like it at all.
Yeah, if you like it, if you think it's helpful to you, then hopefully it'll be helpful to your friends or to other people. So the more you can like, the more you can subscribe. You can get, if you want to get in contact with us, you could do it through there. But you can also go to Instagram, which yours is,
A daily dose of cocoa.
and mine is just my name, Benny Gonzalez. That's it.
Yep.
So, pardon? Yes, with an S at the end, not a Z. So,
Mine's with an O at the end.
Benny Gonzalez.
Daily dose of cocoa.
Daily dose of Coca-Cola. As opposed to caca. Okay. Sorry.
Okay, Iggy, you can hit
We
stop
derailed.
now.
We derailed. All right, guys. See you next week.
Bye. Oh my goodness.